Hello, everyone. Welcome to Alertus webinar series. My name is Liz Reese, Digital Marketing Specialist at Alertus Technologies. During this presentation, Carlton Taylor, Lead Mobile Software Engineer, and Gary L. Gamil, Director of Software Engineering at Alertus, will share the latest updates and features available on the Alertus Recipient App. Please hold your questions until the end of the webinar, but feel free to type your questions in the chat box during the presentation, and we will address them during the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be shared with you after today's session. Please email marketing@alertus.com if you have any questions in the meantime. Now, I'd like to turn it over to today's presenters.
All right, thank you, Liz, for the introduction. My name is Carlton Taylor, and I'm the lead mobile application developer at Alertus Technologies. The goal for this webinar is to briefly overview some of our new mobile application solutions, and then focus on some of the new key features in our mobile recipient app. We have a couple different apps. We have the Activator app and the Recipient app, and the one we are going to most focus on today is the updates in the recipient application. There are a bunch of new features that we want to kind of show you how to use in a live demonstration. We'll follow this up with a Q&A. You can ask us any questions you want at the end of the show. So just to give you a brief overview, Alertus has a mass notification system. What we wanted to do is allow a single point of activation that could allow anyone to activate any endpoint, including desktops, digital signage, alert beacons, and really anything to alert someone of an emergency situation. What we basically created was essentially an easy button, and that's where the Alertus Activation App comes in. It's essentially an easy button for any preset alert on your Alertus server. The Alertus mobile apps are part of our enhanced notification package, so if you do want to use them, just make sure you are licensed to do so. Here is a brief overview of kind of all our different endpoints in a visual manner. As you can see circled there are the Alertus apps. These can trigger any of the other endpoints, as well as receive any of the messages that the other endpoints can receive as well. So first we'll talk about the Alertus Activator app. This is the mobile app that allows you to send any preset alert that's already predefined on your system. Essentially, it's like having your Alertus server on the go. You just simply log in using your credentials and then select your preset alert and then launch that preset alert. It activates any of the other Alertus system products that you already have, and it alerts any of the mobile recipient apps that people have installed for your organization. So basically a broadcast message to all of your users and all of your endpoints. The Alertus Recipient app has undergone a lot of new changes recently. This is the one that notifies students, faculty, and any personnel that have installed the app and signed up for the alerts. It's really simple to set up. You'll type in a code, an email, and right away you'll be able to receive alerts. These users are able to acknowledge that they received an alert, and they can also trigger an incident to the Alertus server by reporting an incident with a new report incident feature that we have. And that can contain any information they want to send, such as an image, custom text, and also their geolocation via coordinates that will be displayed on the map. So this slide kind of breaks down all the different things that they can do. One thing that I didn't mention yet was you now have the ability to custom brand the app. You can custom brand the home screen to include your organization's logo. You can also provide a safety number that they can call right away. They don't have to dig through, what is my campus safety number? What is my organization's safety number? It's available right away inside of the app. They can just hit the button and it'll call campus safety. One other thing is that they can send their user profile information to the campus safety individual. So they can include their name, their phone number. If they have any allergies, they can include those as well, just so that they have more information when responding to the incident that was reported. Here are some screenshots of a typical activation setting for the recipient app. They'll start at number 1 and move to the right. They'll first report the incident. Then they can type in any custom message they want into that box. The next thing they'll do is they'll tap to set their incident location. Right away it'll have their current location, but if they want to change it to something else, they can drag the map to wherever they want. Once they're finished with that, they can hit done and then send the activation. And then number 4 is an example of an alert that's received. And then number 5 is just a picture of the profile. And that's where they'll add any of their profile information, including their full name, their phone number, and their birth date and medical conditions. So now I'm going to show you a demo of an activation. So this is actually a live demo, so I'm going to switch screens so that you can view an actual live demonstration of a phone. Okay, here we have the Alertus app. This is a recipient app that's already logged in and configured to receive alerts as well as send them. So today I'm going to show off the report incident feature. To report an incident, you press on the button. You'll be prompted with the report incident screen. You have a quick slider at the top if you want to choose any predefined alerts. Today we're going to choose to send a fire alert. Maybe we saw a fire somewhere nearby. If we want to include a picture of it, we just click on the camera. Let's choose an existing picture. And I have a picture of a fire. Our current location is shown below. That's the current address. And if I hit send, it'll ask for a confirmation, in which case I can immediately launch the alert. This will send a desktop alert to any targeted devices that are intended to receive it. So for instance, campus safety members might receive this pop-up. You could also trigger a beacon in the campus safety office. Whatever means you want tied to the end of this activation is configurable on the Alertus server. They'll receive this desktop alert and they can immediately view the location of the incident. They can also view the thumbnail image of the alert. You can also see the profile is transferred as well. So the sender was me. It has a phone number listed that you could call back. It has an age, and then any medical information that you wanted to provide. And I'll just dismiss that. That concludes our live demonstration. One more thing I will do is I will do a custom message in our activation. Let's say I wanted to type in something relative to my current situation. Say I witnessed a suspicious person or package. Let's say a package. The app already knows my current geolocation. And I can hit send. But let's say I don't want anybody to know it was sent from me. I can send this anonymously. In the case of the anonymous user, no information is sent besides the geolocation on the map. This is to protect the user if they want to submit something anonymously. That concludes our second live demonstration for a custom message. So if you have any questions, you can submit them via the chat box or the question box on the meeting. If we don't get to your question right away during the session, we can reach out to you directly. You can reach out to us. Call into support if you have any questions as well. These are new features that we haven't released before. They're pretty different than the features we offered previously. So if you need help setting them up, just please call in. And the recording of this will be shared with you after this session. All right, thank you.
Okay, great. So our first question is, can the report incident be assigned by groups? In other words, I don't want everyone to have access to be able to report incidents.
Right now, the report incident feature can be turned on and off. It is a global feature right now, so either you give access to all of your organization, or you can have the feature turned off completely. When we implement targeting to specific mobile endpoints, we will also be implementing that feature as well to have more control over who can activate the system and who can also receive the messages. So there's not a current feature right now. You can just turn it on or off to your liking, but eventually we'll have that feature.
Okay, so the next question is it possible to turn off anonymous submissions?
The question was, is it possible to turn off anonymous submissions? Yes, you can turn off the anonymous submission feature. You can submit that to our Alertus support team. They will configure your mobile app to not be allowed to send any anonymous alerts. That way you know who's sending the alerts at all times.
Okay, the next question is, how would a customer work with Alertus to better understand the integration of mobile features into an existing campus or educational app?
Okay, so a customer would work with our support team as well as their sales consultant to determine the best action in this scenario. So what you need to know is everybody who, when you turn on the mobile panic feature, also called the report incident feature, everybody has access to send these messages. So you need to figure out, first of all, how to control these users. We do have an email verification feature that we suggest you turn on. That way, if you lock somebody out of their email, you're also locking somebody out of using the mobile app. For report incident buttons, say, some employee leaves the company and you don't want them to abuse the feature, a good way to turn that off is to eliminate their email address from the system so they can't verify their email. So that's one thing to think about. Yeah, if you need to set it up, just call in to Alertus support and they'll help you directly.
And this is Gary from Alertus Technologies. I'm also on the line to help answer questions here. And I think the question actually, part I heard also was about if you have an existing campus app. Let's say you have a current application like. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So yeah, what I was saying earlier was we have a couple different options on basically tying into an existing campus app. So one of the methods we have is that we have a third-party partner we work with that can basically, you can implement their SDK into your application, and we can configure the Alertus server to essentially tie into that SDK. So if you don't want to use one of our apps and you want to have your own branded app, we definitely support that. We have a couple customers that do that today. It just would involve adding some kind of common component to your app. In addition to that, we also have worked with a couple different app partners that have their own APIs. And as an integration partner here, we work with a lot of different other companies. So there might even be an API method we could use to directly activate their system. We just recently did this for a University of Saskatchewan. We're recently doing that with them to tie into their app. So there's a couple options there. It really depends on what you have, but definitely talk to us, or you're probably not talking to me, but definitely talk to our support folks, and we'll see what we can do to work things out.
Okay, the next question is, what do those submitted reports look like on the administrator side? For example, from the perspective of a public safety telecommunicator.
Okay, so any activation that goes through this system gets put on something we created called the event dashboard. That has a rich view of the map as well as any meta information such as their email address, phone number, profile information that they included with the alert, as well as any of the images. And it's available as a raw XML payload or in the rich view. So if you need to create a report, you could just export it in CSV or just export it as a PDF, just different means of showing it to somebody.
Yeah, to add what Carlton said, we had a new feature with the latest server release. It's essentially an event dashboard. It actually works for any type of event in the Alertus system. So it'll work for no alerts. It'll work for lightning if you use that. But panic buttons is a great use case where obviously you could have a situation on your campus or your organization where there's a lot of different people sending panic requests. So that can be overwhelming very quickly. So we created a single dashboard that an administrator could log into. They can essentially see a map of the area and where the panic events were initiated from. And in addition to that, they can drill into each case. They can view the details of each submission. So you get all the information you saw in the user's profile. You get their latitude and longitude. You get the message they typed in. You get their email address if it was provided. Things like that. It also tells you what action the system took. So did it alert somebody? Did it notify a group of people? Things like that. So we definitely have a customizable dashboard on the Alertus side. It's called the Event Dashboard. And for current Alertus customers, you can view that by going to the Reports section.
Great. Thanks, Gary. Our next question is, can the report incident feature be cut off and only allow the recipient to call?
Yes, the answer to that is it can be turned off as a global setting. So if you want to turn off either anonymous or you just want to turn off the feature completely, you can still have the call button without having the report incident feature.
Great. All right, thank you. Our next question is, can you show us a little bit of what the desktop looks like?
Sure, let me switch screens back to an alert so that everyone can see the desktop alert.
Yeah, so while Carlton's doing that, I just want to add a couple of things. So in the example that Carlton showed earlier with the desktop popping up with that template, that's like our default template for this. The key thing to understand is that you really can take any kind of action you want. I mean, I'm assuming every organization has different needs. They use these panic kind of alerts in different ways. So you could alert just the security, let's say, for your organization. You could alert everybody if you wanted to, everyone in a certain group. We could activate a third-party system. We have a lot of like personal notification systems we work with that could send email, SMS, phone calls. So really what you want to, as far as the response you want to have during an activation or during a panic event, is totally customizable by you. So this is just one of our templates that Carlton's showing here, but we have, you can design your own templates. You can do a full screen one if you prefer that, is a little more in your face and it's visible, or, you could use a map or things like that. So there's a lot of customization there. So Carlton's showing here, essentially, this is our template that we use for a panic notification, but you can do a ticker if you prefer. You can make this partial screen, displayed in a different corner of the screen. There's a lot of different options there that are all customizable on the Alertus side. And those options are with our Alertus Premier desktop, which is part of our enhanced notification services package.
All right, we're pulling up the desktop notification now in just a second. We're actually handing over presentation to Gary so he can show us the desktop. There you go.
Sure, this is actually the event dashboard I have here. I was talking about earlier. Let me speak to that real quick, but essentially this is kind of an example of if you have a situation where, this is obviously our test server, so you're gonna see a lot of events. But if there were a lot of different panic events, they would show up on the map here. And you could essentially, mouse over each event to kind of see where it's located, or zoom out to a larger area. And you can filter based on, the event type or the time of the event. In addition to that, if you want to get more details on a specific panic button activation, like the last one that was sent out by Carlton, this is the anonymous one, if you recall, we can click on that. We're going to get basically all the images for all the different, if any images were sent, those would be shown, as well as a map of the actual activation. So there's all sorts of details here. We have the latitude, longitude. We have Carlton's message. I witnessed a suspicious package. In this case, it was an anonymous user, but if we go back, we can also see the alert that he sent earlier with his actual information and a picture of the fire alert. So we have all those details. We also have the raw XML for anybody who really wants the raw data. And another really nice feature we actually recently added is, not as common in a production environment, but it's very helpful when you're testing and trying to get your system set up, is that we can actually replay these events. So if you wanted to essentially take an event like this panic button event, we could copy it and go back to the event dashboard. And we can create what we call a ad hoc event. So, for example, testing a panic button, you might want to have a certain scenario, or you might want to do a drill. And in that case, you could very easily, copy an event, tweak a couple of values to test your certain rules or your business logic, and you could submit the event here and essentially resend the activation. So that's a neat little feature as well that some customers might find useful for testing and things like that, essentially. So that's one thing. We'll have to tweak the message a little bit, but that's a helpful event there that you can play with and modify the alert. As far as the desktop itself, you'll see it's running. I'm running on a Windows desktop here. You'll see it's running in my lower right-hand corner. So, desktop is obviously a separate application here, but it does tie into the Alertus system like everything else. So I can show you the full screen version. I think will show up on the screen here. This is actually an example of one of our partners' desktops that it's branded for them, but we can brand it different ways. And this is actually showing French because we have a lot of French customers. But you can essentially, do French characters. You can do any kind of Unicode character for the alert. You can customize your logo. But that's a basic example. And as far as other templates, I don't want to go into this too much because we're mainly talking about mobile today. We have a whole bunch of different templates you can choose from and customize that. And once again, it's a test service. We have some different data here, but essentially there's a lot of different templates we can select from. Pick a one here, like this is one called Tidy. That's really simple. You can even do a video if you had a video you wanted to display, or a really simple like monochrome template, like a single color. And these can all be customized in various ways, depending on your branding or the type of alert you're trying to send out. You can change the color, you can add different logos, things like that. So there's a lot of different options there for the desktop.
Great. Okay, well, thanks, Gary. Our next question is, can this be purchased as a standalone system, or do you need an emergency notification system already in place?
Yeah, I can answer that. It can definitely be purchased standalone. I mean, really any configuration you like. If you'd like to tie us into your system, we work with probably close to 20 different partners. But yeah, we have several customers who just use Alertus, themselves, and we play well with others as well. So you have any kind of option there.
All right. Well, thanks, Gary. What versions of the iOS does the app work in?
So the app works with iOS version 7 and beyond, so all the way up until 9, and then when 10 is released, it should work with that one as well. And then as far as the Android app, we'll just talk about that real quick too. That is supported in Android 4 and up.
Okay, great, thanks. Our next question is, in an extreme panic situation, what would be the minimum number of taps or clicks needed to send a message to campus police?
So we recommend that in an extreme emergency that you call 911, but if you need to report an incident as well, if you want to include any images as an additional alerting means, you can open the app, click report incident, and then hit send right away, and that's only 2 taps beyond just opening the app.
Okay, great. Well, if you have any additional questions, feel free to email marketing@alertus.com, and a representative will reach out to you and answer your question directly. And if you are interested in any upcoming webinars, you can visit our website at alertus.com/webinars, and you can see all of our upcoming webinars after this one, and something that might be relative within this framework, within our app, or other additional products and solutions we offer. So thank you very much again today, and look forward to seeing you again soon.